All right, I am back at it. Again, if this is your first time you're seeing this, it is my mission to talk to as many parents as possible or people involved in amateur athletics, whether that be youth athletics, high school athletics, we'll just call it amateur athletics, just to help pitfalls or people who are wanting to jump into athletics and don't necessarily know the avenue to go down. My guest today, Miss Tammy Judson, who is a mother of five, a very proud mother of five. Kids do some awesome things. You get a chance to talk to her. She is supremely proud of her kids. My daughter is a teammate of her youngest daughter in the lacrosse scene. And then her son plays football for one of the best teams in the nation, not the state, but he was a starting linebacker for one of the best teams in the nation at Venice High School down south in Sarasota. Miss Tammy, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm just gonna jump right into it. Tell us about your background as a sports mother. Your kids all play multiple sports. Talk to me about your background as a sports mother.
Well, I think that stems from my husband and I both being athletes growing up. We both competed, competitively. We both were, ranked within our
Wait,
states.
wait,
Different.
wait, wait, wait. I've known you for a minute now. This has never come up. What what did you compete in, Tammy? Talk to me.
Well, I did play soccer as a youth for
Okay.
fun. I was gymnast and softball player. I was an all-state gymnast.
Yeah.
And I played softball in college until I had transferred and then I stopped playing. But those were my sports in college were those two. So I was, all state for both my teams and, captain of all my sports. So the leadership, the team camaraderie, the being raised with a team and how important high school sports are is like the foreground of how I raised our kids. And same with my husband. My husband was getting recruited out of high school for professional teams. His grandfather was the in the Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Adonis of the mat, and
Wow.
his father played for the minor leagues Red Sox. He's in the Hall of Fame for Dartmouth for both basketball and baseball.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's never come up in our conversations, Tammy.
I
I blame
know.
you.
I
I
know.
I blame you. As many beers and French fries we've had, that's never come up.
That's
But
right.
all right, so let's jump into it. So, off air, we were talking about a few different topics. So I wanted to laser in on one.
Okay.
The specializing in a singular sport as a youth athlete versus playing multiple sports as a youth athlete. And you and I have the same opinion that multi sports is the way, in our opinion, is the way to go.
Yep.
I'm gonna hand you the mic. I want you just to run with it. Give me your opinion, why that is your opinion, and why you think that's beneficial and how that's helped your kids.
Right. Well, I'd say first and foremost, any parent out there, don't fear it. Don't let a coach's ear get into you that you have to do one sport. One sport is not a multifaceted athlete or a multifaceted person.
Mhm.
I also think it's a great injury prevention to do multi sports. You want to expose them. I'm not saying you have to be in an organized sport. It just means, other than doing the same exact movements every time of one sport,
Mhm. Mhm.
do something else. I also owned a CrossFit gym for 13 years. I
Wow.
trained athletes to be, multi sport. I told them that you may not play your organized sport. This is your organized sport added to what you're doing already.
Right.
So just training your body to be acclimated to more than just the one sport that you're training for. And I say that in a loving way.
Mhm.
Parents are scared of that. They're scared of what the coach will say. If your kid grows as an athlete, they'll grow more even playing more than one sport. Let them be exposed. You have no idea when that peak of that sport they're playing will hit. It could hit at 12, it could hit at 14, it could hit at 18, it could hit at 22. You don't know when that peak performance is going to hit. Getting them exposed to all different athletics will open the doors for many more things. And I'll use an example.
Okay.
My son Kane, who plays at Venice High for both football and baseball. In football, he's a linebacker. At baseball, he's a pitcher.
Mhm.
In his youth, he played five sports. He played soccer year round. He played outdoor football and indoor football. He
Mhm.
played baseball and he played lacrosse. So all different things he played basketball.
Okay.
So when he played soccer, he would get yelled at on the field for kicking a ball that would land in the goal. So let's fast forward to sophomore year of high school, fresh out of his freshman year, walking in, and we don't have a kicker, punter, or an extra point kicker for the high school at Venice.
Right.
Here comes Kane stepping on the field, and they're like, dude, you can punt, you can kick. And he kicked. He was a linebacker and a kicker. So one game, ball fumble, recovers it at linebacker, runs it back for a touchdown,
Mm.
has to kick the extra point, and then turn around and do the kickoff, and
Yep.
then get back on the field as a defender.
Yep. That's
So
awesome.
those things open the door for him to be able to be that player. So
Coaches are coaches are inherently selfish. And I heard you make mention of coaches can get mad for or have get in their feelings about kids playing multiple sports because you want as a coach, you would like to have your athletes as much as possible so you can develop them to help develop the team, right? But that doesn't necessarily happen. And you can tell just because they're human and they have to now share an athlete. What experience have you had, positive and or negative, where you've had to tell one of the coaches, hey, one of my kids, he's not going to be with you full time, or she's not going to be with you full time because they're playing this sport at this time of year? What experience, and then how should a parent go about having that conversation with that coach that to explain my kid's a multi-sport athlete?
I think there's different stages. So, like as a youth, when Kane played sports in spring,
Okay.
lacrosse player, baseball player, and soccer player, all three were the
Yeah.
same time.
Wow.
I said to them, we'll do the best to make what we can.
Okay.
I will split between the practices what works. Did we go back to back practices? We did. My daughter Jamie, that plays with you,
Mm-hmm.
goes back to back practices.
Mm-hmm.
Volleyball, lacrosse, soccer, lacrosse. Sometimes she had three sports in one day,
Right.
and she's a three sport athlete. So for that, we worked around that. Now, step forward into where they start taking things more serious. And if you've seen, it's evolved. We now have sports that are year round on every sport,
Correct.
not just one sport. And especially in the South, it's a lot stronger because you can play those sports year round.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just certain seasons. And these seasons do cross year. I would never approach a coach and tell them that, hey, they're not going to be available. That is my athlete's responsibility
Mm-hmm.
and job to communicate with his coach. Hey, coach, I play both sports. I'll be part of this team. I am part of this team. I just will be joining you once our season ends. And once, it's time for me to convert to the other one. Hence, football season, he's working out. He can't do certain lifts because he's pitching that day.
Right.
He's got to be watchful of those things. And they
Mm-hmm.
do. Like now we have weightlifting in first period. That is sports specific for the football team. It's working that and saying, how do I get that to work as a overall round athlete that plays more than one sport?
Now you have you have the luxury of having a husband who's also played multiple sports. So you guys have been in this. How would you tell a brand new family, let's just say a two-parent household, how to balance, how to stay organized with these different sports that could be crossing over in between seasons or possibly the same or possibly being played at the same time in the same season? How do you stay organized as a family?
So I wouldn't say it's organized, it's find your tribe. Every family has teammates, and every teammate has friends amongst each other. And listen, you have friends for a reason, a lifetime, or a season.
Mm-hmm.
And that season may be you and I see each other during lacrosse season, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't
Yep.
see each other out of there, but you called me up and said, "Hey, Morgan's there. She needs help. I got you." Like
Yep.
that is the part where you have to rely on each other and other families when they see, wow, they did it. We were told coming into this high school, those coaches won't like that he plays multi sports. You're going to get a talk to, and we said, "We'll take it."
We'll
Like
take it.
we'll
Like it or
take it.
not.
It's we'll take it because that's not the case. Like you want them to grow as a person. That
Mm-hmm.
is the key thing. My son is who he is today, and my daughters, who all played multi sports, and including in college, are who they are today because they played those multi sports. And some of their best friends they have are still from those sports teams. outside of their high school even times,
Mhm.
that's club versus high school. Don't be
What
afraid.
what happens if I'm just shooting off the cuff right now. Um, you're wanting to play multiple sports, okay? However, one sport has, in your opinion as a family, solid coaching, they're organized. The second sport does not. Should a parent be afraid to say, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna skip this second sport this season until we can find a better organization for you," in our opinion? Should they be afraid to skip season or just ride through the rough spots?
Well, first and foremost, never tell someone they have a bad organization
Yep.
or
Go ahead.
disorganized.
Mhm.
Every team has disorganization.
Mhm.
Every person has disorganization. That is part of our makeup of life. That's how we travel our roads.
Mhm.
I think when you are looking at what you're looking for your child, there are avenues. You may not be, that sport may be disorganized for you
Mhm.
and for your athlete, but doesn't mean that that's the end of that sport that season. Maybe
Right.
that's a high school team. Maybe that's a club team. Maybe you're taking a break from one or the other. My daughter did it in her, I say middle school years. She said, I'm not going to play this sport this season. That was
Okay.
soccer. That's the one she went off to play with in college.
Okay.
So those are one of those things that maybe they need a break. Maybe the team gets things developed. Maybe it's over time. But I feel like if you are taking that coach and what they're presenting, that athlete's got to make the best of it because life can have disorganization. You can join a professional team that's very disorganized. I don't think if you're getting paid multi-million dollars, you're going to pick up and leave because it's disorganized.
Mhm.
You're going to make the best of what it is for how it works for you.
A parent comes to you, "Hey, Tammy, my son or my daughter has been in multiple sports his or her whole career. They're starting to lean towards a certain sport. They're starting to lean towards a certain sport. I don't want to be that parent that puts pressure and says, "Hey, you got to play multiple sports." How do you respond to that parent who they may feel like they're putting pressure on their child to choose to continue playing multiple sports, but the child may want to start weaning one off and stay at one sport? What does that conversation sound like?
I think the difference is between youth and high school sport.
Mhm.
I will be honest, my son one day turned around, showed up at practice on football junior year,
Mhm.
turned, and the coach said, "Hey, at any point in time, any of you guys want to leave, don't want to be here, you can go." He said, "Bye bye," walked off the field.
Okay.
So those coaches and those players went and found him to talk to him.
Okay.
And it was the brink of all the pressure of everything at once, always going. And to that parent, I would say to your kid, hey, if you're leaning towards that one sport, you train in that one sport more. But giving up that other sport gives you a break from that. It
Yeah.
brings up new friendships, it brings up new team dynamics. It also, you may not realize that you're the glue of that team in a different way.
Okay.
So I think that builds character for both you and your teammates.
Absolutely. I think once you get into team sports, um, in my opinion, sports is an avenue, right? It is a teaching tool. And one part of being in team sports, especially amateur athletics, you're teaching either A, how to be a role player, whatever your role may be. And if you're not happy with your role, you need to do more to have a different role. Okay. You need to start there. And then where do you, what is your foundation for the team? How do you help the coaches feel comfortable in your play? What can they depend on you? Can your teammates depend on you? Just like any other household. All right. It's Tuesday. It's a trash day. Monday night, son. I need that trash taken out. That is your role within the house. Okay. The same thing goes for any team. When you're involved with that team, it is your job to be about that team, understand your role within that team, because this is teaching you tools for the future. We just can't bail and go. Same thing what you said with the organization. Just because the organization's not organized at that time, have you had a conversation with the coaching staff? Are you trying to be helpful? Are you trying to offer a solution? Are you just going to bail and go to the next spot? Everything has a time and a place. And once you jump into team athletics, you are just not about yourself anymore. The team has to be about the team. And that's the lessons, at least in my household, we like to teach our kids. If you're going to jump in this, we are committed to this team for this tenure. And we're going to do everything that we can to help this. With that said, stay on that avenue. You've got a parent wanting to jump into the youth athletics. What do you warn them about?
The chatter, the chatter.
Mm,
Other
mm,
p complaining, ignore that chatter, let the coach coach. You know,
mm,
there is times when you're gonna have daddy ball, you know, that is the part of youth. Some of
mm-hmm,
those coaches that are daddies do become great coaches,
mm-hmm.
but look for the avenue that works for your family and your
Right,
child.
right.
I know that parents are gonna have a feeling about their youth athletics based on their own youth athletics
Oh,
and their
that,
own experiences with other children or other families, but their own youth athletics set the ground for how they think things will run.
oh, interesting. I would say elaborate, but that sounds like that sounds like a part two with Tammy right there. That's a good topic. That sounds like a
Yeah.
good topic right there. Go back to the chatter. Go back to the chatter, right? Um,
Well, every team has chatter.
yeah,
Every team
absolutely.
has someone that's just not happy because they're not happy.
Right.
You know, they're going to complain about a coach. They're going to complain about a parent. They're going to complain about their kids' playing time. They're going to complain about, what position they put that player in that day. It,
Yep.
it could be anything.
Yep.
It could be how the day's run. It could be a
y-
disorganized day for that coach.
All right. So the chatter, how do you combat the chatter? How do you stay away from the chatter? How do you ignore it or keep one ear to it so you know what's going on, but not react to it?
After each kid we had, we moved further and further away from the center line.
Okay.
So you move down the sideline a little bit. You can hear it,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be a part of it. I honestly think what happens is you separate the drama. You
Yes.
separate the drama from the construction. You
Yes.
hear a parent chatter and it's drama, and you hear a parent chatter and it's constructive.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that can be done. That is
Yes.
great input, and that is a team approach of, "Hey," like our players, they come home. What's the best thing to say to our players when they come home? "Are you hungry?" Not,
Yes.
"Hey, coach coulda done this." Those are the things that you want to listen to, that constructive chatter, see what's going on, and then see, does your teammate mention that? Does your player mention that?
Yep.
What is happening? And then that may be something like, "Oh, that's interesting. I heard that talk about that."
It's awesome that you say that because um my son plays quarterback and you're in the football space. And 90% of the problems that go on any football team is a quarterback's fault. All right. It's the chatter. All right. So as my as my wife, I've played at high levels and I told my wife, listen, if you don't want to hear people talking crap about your son, we need to go to the opposite sideline. All right, that's your baby. We need to don't be on this side because everything's gonna be his fault. We need to go to the opposite sideline so you ain't gotta worry about that. She grew into having thicker skin, but as it started, it wasn't always that way. All right. My daughter's in a little different situation. And I am that middle of, you know me, Tammy. I sit in the middle of the lacrosse field. However, I'm locked in on the game. So my wife will tell me stuff that the chatter that's going on the outside, I hear none of it because I'm locked in and focused on what our team is doing at that given time. So you're right about the sideline chatter absolutely does happen, right? But is it constructive or is it harmful, right? And then for our sport, at least the sports that our daughters share, I like to tell folks there's no perfect utopia in the lacrosse space. No program is perfect. There's going to be issues with every lacrosse organization, youth organization that you can find. What are you able to tolerate and how does your child grow within this organization? And what is your mission as a family? If it doesn't align with that, you need to go someplace else. But if you're good, if that's that 80-20 rule, the 80-20 marriage rule, if you're good with this 80, you may not get this 20%. But this 80 is really good. I can do without this 20. It's the same thing. I got the 80-20 rule. This provides my athlete the best room to grow. And she is part of a team and the fabric of this team. We're not going to leave there hanging. And I think that's part of the essence of being a team sport and being dependable within your team that, hey, I got you. You're my teammate and family members also. And that's another conversation we got to have is that in order for a team to be successful, the parents have to be as committed to the success of that team. The organization itself is going to do the heavy lifting, but some of that small involvement that the parents can, like you said, it takes a village. That some of that involvement has to happen within the parent unit also. What are your last words, Miss Judson? Let's finish up. This has been a great 20 minutes. I'm pleasantly surprised, but let's go ahead. Let's finish up. What will be your last words to the community be?
What's meant to happen's meant to happen. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a plan. God's got a plan out there for you. And if you sit there and put all your eggs in one basket of what's going to happen for that game, even for your athlete, for the team, you're going to maybe be disappointed. That 80/20 is going to show up.
That they
And the
told to
bad
show up.
part's going to be that 80%.
Yeah.
And you got to say to yourself, there's balance. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. The key
Yeah.
role about your son being a quarterback, that was one of our conversations. My son used to be the quarterback
Mm-hmm.
before he got here. Before he got to ninth grade or eighth grade here, he was a quarterback. And I always said, why do you have to be the important role? The quarterback, the kicker, the pitcher. But some athletes can handle that pressure.
Yes.
The parent may not be able to. And that is the key thing to remember. Your athlete is the one on that field. Your athlete is the one that has to face the coaches, how
Mm-hmm.
they say, what things were said to them, how they're treated by teammates, by other parents, by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We take it in as a mama and as a papa, like we take
Mm-hmm.
it in into our heart because that is our babies.
Right.
But we have to remember they're the ones that walk off that field with that. And we just have to embrace them. And we have to trust that the process is going to happen the way it's supposed to happen and that we can't anticipate tomorrow. We can only look for where we are today and plan for tomorrow.
Girl, you should probably start a church because that you sound like a pastor or like a reverend or the lead of the motherboard. That was a good message.
Thank
That was a
you.
really good message. All right, for Tammy and Preston, we're gonna sign off till next time.
Thank you. Hey, Preston, I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing out there for youth sports and all athletes that are out there. You and your family, your role models for everybody, and I appreciate that.
You're more than welcome. Our pleasure.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.